This is game 3 of a 9-person draft that we had at Gongaii Games out in Beaverton near Portland, Oregon. I am at the top of the screen playing a Spellslinger deck, and then Landon is at the bottom of the screen playing his Necromancer drafted deck. So both of us got pretty lucky in this pod, and were able to draft fairly strong decks. So I believe this is a pretty fun game. A fun game here. Landon was able to kind of get into like an uncontested fire earth lane, and then I was able to draft like a pretty strong pool of earth cards, and then supplement that with some decent air options. Turn 2 here for me, ramping out a crawler using the Den of Evil to get the discounted casting cost. Passing turn back to Landon. Landon, turn 2, is going to play out a Bloom that'll bring him to 2 mana, and he's opting to be a little bit more aggressive here on his open. So paying 2 on turn 2 for an Ignited, choosing to target the site to push damage here, and I think that he chose to target the site instead of trade with the crawler, because when I was able to ramp out the crawler turn 2 and get that 3-power threat on the board, I think it put a lot of pressure on him, and I think he just felt the need to start pushing damage and race. That was his response, I think, to seeing that threat on the board. I think in the long run, it is you're generally better served using something like Ignited more as a removal spell to remove a threat from the board, rather than just push damage, like treat it as like a 3-point burn spell. So here you can see that I don't have a play on my turn 3. I just played out a Spire, but I attacked in with the crawler onto his site, and that's 3 points in. And now that crawler is still on the board, and it is still a threat that Landon has to deal with, as opposed to if he had just used the Ignited to remove it on the previous turn. I would have played out a site, and I don't know if I don't think I had a turn 3 play at that point, so that would have that would have put him ahead on the board a little bit with tempo there. Turn 3 for Landon, again not able to take advantage of the casting curve to get a skeleton, and just playing out another crawler. Again, I think because he was slightly behind tempo here and felt like he needed to match me threat for threat. So he's kind of putting out that crawler and kind of inviting me to trade my piece for his piece. Unfortunately, I think what you're going to see here is I have the upper hand with this card I'm about to play. Gift of the Wolf. It's going to allow me to draw a spell, and it is going to give my crawler +2, which allows me to attack in and remove his crawler, and then retain my piece on the board. That was only 2 mana to cast. Last 2 mana in my mana pool for a static servant. Genesis deals a point of damage to every unit at the site that it's summoned to. So I'm able to remove his skeleton from the board for free, essentially just getting that value from that static servant, and then having a 2-power minion on the board to threaten. Landon playing an Accursed Desert brings his mana total to 4. There's a second crawler coming from him, and then passing turn. So again, inviting at least a trade to get both crawlers off of the board here. I'm untapping, setting up for I believe this is my turn 5. Turn 5 here. Static Servant. I like in limited format, and especially in Gothic only limited format, just because there are so many opportunities for your opponents to create skeleton tokens that run around on the board. And you just need ways to be able to mitigate and deal with that. So just having a vanilla 2 for 2 is great if you need that to fill out your curve, but then also getting some additional value out of it when it comes into play is even better. Being able to remove a skeleton just by casting it is strong, and then having that body on the board that they have to deal with. I'm spending a long time here contemplating my play, and I think it's because I have a removal spell for this crawler. I'm just trying to decide whether or not it is more prudent to use it now and push advantage with what I have on board, or if I should save it for potential scarier threats coming out in future turns here. Because I think what I have here is a Buried Alive. Yeah, there's the Buried Alive, and I'm choosing to use it on the crawler just so I can push in 5 points of damage with what I have on board. But I think I spent a long time thinking about that turn. It felt like a critical turn for me there, in terms of whether, like, do I just trade out the crawlers, push in 2 points of damage, and save the Buried Alive for a future threat, or do I just go more aggressive at this point since I have the advantage on the board currently? Landon getting out a Desert to ping the Aesthetic Servant, and then attacking at the trade with his skeleton. 3 for a Begone to remove the crawler. So that gets him back to level there on the board, and actually it puts him ahead slightly because he had 1 more mana left over to create the skeleton token. I'm tapping for a 5th sight here. Spire. That will take me to 5 mana, and I believe that fixes me for thresholds for the game. I don't think I have anything over 3 threshold in either element. 3 for an Order of the White Wing. Will come in with a ward, and then on the opposite end to kind of spread out my minions and create more threat points on the board here. Noisome Twosome. Landon moving up his skeleton token. He has 5 mana in his mana pool for the turn. He has 2 threats coming at him. Order of the White Wing, notably, if I can get it nearby his avatar, it will prevent him from summoning skeletons, because the skeletons are not summoned out of hand. So he still has some plays open to him. He hasn't cast anything this turn yet. 3 for a Martyrs of Tomorrow. And then paying 1 for a skeleton token, and then passing turn. Not the best board position for Landon to be in, but getting bodies on the board is always better than not. I'm going to go to do my attacks first here before I make any spell choices. I'm attacking into the site for 3 with the Order. He's choosing not to block and taking 3 points of damage. I'm attacking with the Noisome Twosome, and again he's choosing not to block and taking another 2 points of damage in. That puts the Order of the White Wing in a position where I want it, nearby the avatar. I'm tapping for a spell because I have nothing better to do that I want to do with my avatar on this turn. And then 4 mana for a Bound Spirit. Bound Spirit adjacent to my spellcaster, 4 power. Creates a large threat on board that he needs to respond to. Landon setting up his turn. He has a site in hand that looks like an Accursed Desert. So at the very least he could play that out, pop the ward on the Order. And if he wants to, he could attack in with Martyrs and the Skeleton to trade out with the order. That still puts him behind on board state there. Like the spirit uncontested is a little bit dangerous, just because he's so low on life at this point now. He's down to 7, so leaving the spirit on board feels like it puts him within striking distance for door, especially if he leaves that forward sight that the skeleton token and the martyrs are on open for attack. He's got some options in his hand here. And I think he takes a while here to make a decision, just because it probably feels like a very important decision for him to make in terms of what he tries to trade or clear on the board here. If it's more important to remove the order, or if it's more important to remove the bound spirit. Looks like he's thinking of playing a Blade of Thorns. Blade of Thorns onto the skeleton will give the skeleton 4 power, allow it to kill the order and stay alive. I think he's changing his mind, though. I think he's more concerned about the spirit. He's just walking through. He's walking through kind of the permutations that he could do. He could give it to the skeleton, or he could give it to the martyr. He's going to give it to the martyr instead, so the martyr is able to kill the bound spirit and live. That does make the martyr a 5 power, which is definitely a threat that I have to consider. And then he's playing a Barging Barghest into the void to be able to defend against the Order of the White Wing. Pushing damage in with a skeleton token for another point of damage, moving a skeleton up, and that was all he could do passing turn. He went to create a skeleton and then just remember that he'd spent all of his mana on those 2 spells, and also that the Order of the White Wing was in position, preventing him from being able to do that. So a decent response on the board from Landon there, just that 5 power with the blade, creating some problems for me. It does cause him to lose 2 points of life at the end of every one of his turns, though. So it puts a timer. It puts a faster timer on when he's going to go to door at this point. Five mana in my mana pool currently. I have a site. It looks like it's an open. I want to say it's an open grave. I could play out the open grave and get a skeleton. Unfortunately, the skeleton's not really in a good position to be able to defend or move forward and attack, really. I'm inviting a trade with the Order, and Landon trades that out with the Barghest. I'm trading out a skeleton with the Nosum Tusum. Playing out the open grave. It looks like I'm choosing not to create the skeleton, so I want that 6 mana in my mana pool on this turn, I think. Yeah, not using the Genesis, so I have 6 mana free for 2 Snallygasters. Playing them separated on the board there, and playing them in a defensive position that denies Landon the ability to attack in and kill them with the Martyr, but gives them threat to his sights because of their movement +1. So I think that I traded with or not traded, but I used the Noisome Twosome to remove one of his skeleton tokens from the board instead of just attacking in for 2 more points of damage, because at that point it felt like a little less urgent for me to push damage in versus controlling what he has on the board. Just because he has that Blade of Thorns is going to do 2 points of life loss to him at the end of each of his turns. That's already going to bring him down. Plus, I had these threats coming in, these 2 Snallygasters that were going to threaten to essentially bring him to door anyways. So I think it made more sense to me just to clear board best I could, if it didn't cost me one of my own minions. Landon, like, attacking in with that skeleton, I think he played up panpipes to have it increase its damage to 2. I opted not to block it because I didn't want to be baited into losing one of the Snallygasters. Unfortunately, he was able to get position from that attack to cast that Buried Alive and remove one of them anyways. It's not going to stop him from going to door on this turn. So I do have him at door first here, and then I have two minions on the board threatening to be able to attack in to him on his next turn here. So he's going to need a way to either remove one of my threats or to create enough defenders to allow him to survive a potential of 2 attacks. Probably tapping for a sight, and I don't think I had any real tech sites that were going to provide any additional value for me in the game at this point in time. There weren't any other actions that felt like they were worth taking with my avatar at that point. So I might as well draw a sight and have the option in hand just in case I needed it in the future. 6 mana, my mana pool. I don't believe I've cast anything yet this turn. 4 for a Guardian Angel. Guardian Angel with Airborne, so his minions can't touch them, can't touch it on their own. I threw it forward there just to threaten to get into position to get to his avatar on the next turn. And so Landon here now, he needs to either remove at least one of my minions, or he needs to come up with enough blockers to prevent them from striking him with the final blow on his next turn, on my next turn here when he passes. He can create 1 with the Necromancer, so he can create a skeleton token. He's tapping for a Valley, and it looks like he has a Profane Revenant in his hand. Profane Revenant, not a super strong minion in my opinion. However, like if you're able to get something like a Necromancer and like have more of a guarantee that you're going to have evil minions at your disposal at any point in the game, its value skyrockets. So it looks like he's thinking pretty hard about playing that out, and I mean he has limited options here, so I don't see a world where he doesn't play it on his home site to defend. There's the Profane Revenant. It is currently a 3 power with the skeleton token there. And just having those 2 bodies on the board presents a challenge for me here in terms of overcoming it. with what I have on board, it makes it very difficult for me to attack in profitably to those pieces. I can't just attack the skeleton because he can choose to defend with the Revenant. So I need to come up with a way to remove something from the board here, or get in 3 attacks. And I think this turn you're gonna see a critical error on my part here. I have a Gift of the Wolf in my hand, and I think what I likely should have done is use the Gift of the Wolf on the Noise of Twosome before attempting to attack in. But I don't do that, and I just make like a critical error in general there. Attacking in, he blocks and removes it with the Revenant. I do create the skeleton, so I get one more body that sticks around on the board for another turn here. And it does leave his skeleton open to be removed by my Snallygaster. I think there's a lot of different ways I could have done this. I think it would have been stronger maybe just like made that play as is and then played Gift of the Wolf onto my Snallygaster. I guess that wouldn't make sense either, because he could still defend with the skeleton. This was the problem that I was facing in this game, with the blockers that he had on board here. I need to be able to get out enough blockers from his home site in order to overcome that and get a strike in on a future turn here. And it's especially difficult because he can just keep playing blockers onto his home site, and also he could just pay 1 to create another skeleton, which is already a blocker, no matter where he is. I think the Gift of the Wolf is in my hand. I'm thinking hard about this, and I believe what I decide to do here at this point is I go ahead and I think I do attack in with a Snallygaster just to remove a skeleton. I need to keep that I need to keep the skeleton count down on his home site, and then threaten in with the Snallygaster and force him to maybe trade the Revenant on his next turn, and then somehow get into position here. So I mean, I'm taking an awful long time to think about to think this through here, and it's because I'm trying to come up with a way to either get him to either kill him or get into a position where I can kill him. I'm playing a Gift to the Wolf, and I'm playing it on the Guardian Angel, drawing a card off of that brings the Guardian Angel's power up to 5 for the turn. Playing a second Gift to the Wolf that I drew off of that first one that I played. And I think I'm opting to swing in and remove his Martyr with the Guardian Angel. But I think just in general, it would have been a stronger play to ignore his Martyr of Tomorrow and fly forward, maybe like diagonally to that valley, and threaten to be able to attack into his avatar on the next turn. That way I would have 3 minions that he would need to come up with a response to, and he would only have a Revenant on board at that point in time. So then, like, on his next turn, he could create a skeleton that gives him 2 bodies. He could trade the Revenant with the Snallygaster that leaves him with 1 skeleton. And then if he top decks another body, that gives him 2, potentially. Then that's if he top decks a body that he can make use of. So I think that might have been the better play for me. I'm not sure. versus just removing the martyr. Versus just removing the martyr of tomorrow. When I killed the martyr, I opted not to pick up the Blade of Thorns because that would have caused me to go to door on that turn. As is, I'm still at 1 life, not at door yet. I'm forcing him to take me to door on this turn. Trying to preserve tempo as best I can there. After I go to door, I am free to pick up the Blade of Thorns. Blade of Thorns causes life loss, not damage, so you cannot kill yourself when you're on door by holding it. Landon choosing to move with his Necromancer. Making a skeleton, and yeah, just trading out the Revenant with the Snallygaster. Playing a Martyr. So again, leaving him again with 2 pieces on the board there as blocking defenders. Starting my turn here, I drew into a Static Servant. You're going to see that Static Servant come out and remove this skeleton, just because, again, that's free value when I play it. So I'll play it out. It gets to remove the skeleton. It gets to pick up the panpipes. I can pick up the Blade of Thorns. And I can like kind of start wheeling myself into position. Again, like the name of the game is like getting into position and then creating a scenario where I have more attackers than he has blockers. In order to win the game here. I think he's out of cards. He's top decking at this point. I think he ran out of cards in his hand. I just like trying to think through my plays here. The problem with the skeleton is just like I can't attack in because he now has a 2-power minion there to defend. But we went ahead and like did that Static Servant play to remove the skeleton piece, pick up the panpipes. Positioning my Guardian Angel so it is ready to attack in if needed. Playing out Snallygaster. Snallygaster probably picks up the blade. So my like the deck that I was able to draft, it felt pretty strong in terms of like I had a lot of multiples of really good cards. I have like I got like an unheard of 3 Gift of the Wolf in this deck, and also three Snallygaster in the deck. In addition to some other good things that curve out. Unfortunately, like I don't have any like direct damage kill spells per se, so I didn't get like a zap, and I didn't include a zap in this deck. I know that some people like pull a zap and then put it in their limited decks just because it's a good kill spell to have in the deck if needed. And it's just like it's not usually a high priority for me. Like by the time a zap comes around, like someone has likely already taken it as the 11th to 14th pick in the pack. It's not something that I'm getting past the end of a draft pick. Typically, I find. Landon playing out a Hellhound. He's playing it out more aggressively. I think because I am also at door here. He's just trying to create threats that force me to have to respond to them. He's piling on a lot of skeletons at this point now. He punched my skeleton to remove it. Again, he still has 2 blockers versus just my 1. My single attacker that can attack into him on this turn, so I still can't get him. The Snelligaster has free reign to remove either the Martyr of Tomorrow or the Hellhound. I opted to just remove the Hellhound. It seemed like the greater threat at this point. And then I'm using the Guardian Angel to remove the Martyr. And then probably playing out my hand here, because I have, I think I have at least 2 minions that I can play out. Again, like the name of the game for me at this point is just getting enough bodies on the board and cornering him into a situation where I can attack. Landon on his next turn, though, top decks Searing Truth. And the Searing Truth will force me to draw a card, take damage, and give him the win. So that was a really fun game to play. I think we both had really good, really strong decks that we were able to draft out of this pod. And unfortunately, I ran out of, my deck ran out of steam, and I didn't have enough. I didn't have a way to round out the game, especially versus the value on Necromancer, just being able to get those skeleton blockers every turn. But congrats to Landon on the win. That was our draft pod. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.